What's up, MMA fans? Sorry, I haven't done predictions in a while. There's been a few shows, mostly UFC shows, that I haven't done. There was a few good Dream shows that just went on. Dream 9, which was a really good card. A little bit of an upset on there with Kid Yamamoto losing to Joe Warren. I was a little disappointed to see Jay-Z's performance against Kawajiri. I was really hoping for more from Jay-Z. I was hoping he could go in there and put on a good performance, but was just kind of held down by Kawajiri most of the fight. And Kawajiri just looked rusty, to be honest with you. And plus, he's a good fighter as well at 155. And then Machida knocking out Rashad was not shocking, but it was like it's a very decisive way to beat a fighter who's never lost before, to maintain his unbeaten streak. It's definitely got to be talked about as one of the best fighters in the world now, especially at his weight class. He is definitely the best 205er out there, and he's going to be taking on Shogun, which I think is his biggest threat because he's the most versatile fighter. One of the most versatile fighters in the division at 205, especially for the UFC. He's a good submission guy. He's definitely versed on the ground. And Machida's, almost caught by Tito. And I think that Shogun's jiu-jitsu is a lot better than Tito's. And his stand-up is, we forget how good his stand-up is just as good as anybody. And the clinch could be something that Machida could have problems with. So we'll see. It'll be a great fight nonetheless. Had the whole Sarah Hughes thing get taken care of. It, grinded out type of decision for Hughes. Some people were split on that, but nevertheless, we got this card tonight. Brown favorite to tomorrow, and then next week UFC 99, Silva Franklin and Cain Velasquez and Czech Congo, which now all of a sudden has huge permutations for who fights for the belt first. Do you have, if Congo wins, I think she should automatically get a title shot. Cain wins, I don't think Cain gets a title shot right away. I think the first title shot would probably go to the winner of Nog Couture. Now with Cro Cop back in the UFC picture, we'll see what happens with that. But this card here is a very good card. You have Andrei Arlovsky on this card. It's so weird seeing him fight out of the UFC. And then Robbie Lawler. This is a great card, so let's get right to the predictions. Randleman, who I haven't seen fight in a long time. I think the last time he got submitted against Shogun. Pride's first U.S. show against Mike Whitehead, who's just been promotion jumping lately. Adrenaline, Affliction, Valor, Strikeforce, just being a fighter, doing his thing. You got to respect that. This fight, it's a weird fight because Randleman so explosive, but what is he going to bring to the table? Is he going to try to, stand up and catch Whitehead? Is he going to try to take Whitehead down? Whitehead's a good wrestler. Is Whitehead going to try to take him down, put the wrestler on his back, which is a very good possibility. Randleman's not a good submission guy. He's pretty much relegated to stand up or trying to ground and pound somebody. So I think Whitehead has a little bit more tools in the arsenal to work with. He's been in the game a little bit, as of recent. He's been in the game fighting. So I think Whitehead will win this fight probably by a decision, maybe even by stoppage. I'm personally going to be rooting for Randleman, but I think Whitehead will win this fight because he's been more active. Randleman hasn't fought in a while. If he has, I don't know about it. Didn't check on Sherdog if he had, but nevertheless, I'm going to pick Whitehead to win this fight, probably by decision or stoppage. Now, the next fight, which is going to be an entertaining fight to watch because it's going to be a stand-up fight. Everybody knows that. Phil Baroni against Joe Riggs, and Baroni's been getting knocked out quite a bit as of late. I mean, since making the drop to 170, he hasn't, but against, obviously Shamrock, and then against Villasenor, he's been getting beat up Kaloheho stopped him. And Joe Riggs is a stand-up fighter. He's not going to look to do much else. Same with Baroni. He's going to want to stand and bang. It's going to be interesting to see who takes this fight to the ground first, if it happens at all. Hopefully we get to see a Scott Smith, Benji Radek type of fight, which I think has been the best fight of the year so far, believe it or not. I think that fight was the best fight of 2009 so far in mixed martial arts. In my opinion, it's if not the best, one of the best. But I'm gonna pick Riggs to win this fight. I'm gonna pick Riggs. They both seem to have the same strengths and weaknesses, to be honest with you. And they get in a tough spot. They seem to mentally wilt when they just seem to be the same style of fighter. But I'm gonna pick Riggs. I'm gonna pick the younger guy, faster. I think Riggs has better technical boxing than Baroni. I think Baroni has good power, and Riggs has fought as high as heavyweight. He's fought at 205. He's fought at 185, same as Baroni. But I just think Riggs has a little bit more technical boxing, and he'll outstrike Baroni a little bit better. And pick Riggs to win this fight. Maybe by stoppage. It's possible. Maybe by a ground and pound stoppage in second or third. Now this fight is going to be a good fight, and an interesting fight too. Nick Diaz against Scott Smith. I don't know if this was. I think this was at a catch of 180. And Nick is such a throwback. Like he competes at lightweight when he fights at Dream. When he was fighting at Elite XC, they basically created the 160-pound class for him. And when he fought Nunes, he obviously got beat pretty bad in that fight. His face was really messed up. He's obviously coming off his destruction of Frank Shamrock, and he's fighting Scott Smith, who I just mentioned had an awesome fight with Benji Radek. And Scott Smith's got good, heavy, strong punches, and it's going to be interesting to see Nick decides to stand with him or decides to try to take him down and submit him, because Scott Smith's got better boxing than Frank Shamrock, and is definitely much heavier handed than Frank Shamrock. And Nick is just when you want to count the guy out, or people just love to hate him. I personally like to watch him fight because he's just balls out and fights the way you want to see somebody fight. He just doesn't, for lack of a better term, give a shit. He just goes out there and bangs, regardless of weight class, regardless of who his opponent is. He goes out there and he's gonna give you money's worth. And as a fan, it's all you can appreciate. But I want to pick Nick in this fight. I really do, because I think he's just got more tools to work with the submissions. He's got a great chin. I mean, he's been hit by Lawler. He's taken some big punches from Gomi. He's been beat up in fights, but has never been knocked out. And I want to pick Nick in this fight, probably by a decision, because he's just a more versatile fighter. If this fight gets to the ground, I think he can submit Smith. He's got a really good jiu-jitsu game that he just doesn't use because he likes to stand and throw punches. So I'll pick Nick in this fight via decision. Now to the next fight, which is a really good fight, and Brett Rogers is a really, I think, a good fighter who could make some waves, especially if he beats Arlovsky. He's a huge guy. If he hits Arlovsky on the chin, I think he could knock him out. But in Brett Rogers' last fight, he fought a guy who was outweighed by, I know we all saw that fight, outweighed by 40 pounds, and he pounded on him for a long time, and the guy just eventually dropped. I give that guy a lot of credit. He was definitely fighting out of his weight class. And Arlovsky's just, coming off the Fedor knockout, where everybody, was in love with the fact he was beating Fedor for 2, minutes, and then got himself cold-cocked. I'll again say that Arlovsky didn't do anything that Crow Cop didn't do in the first round of their fight, till the fight ended up hitting the ground and Fedor just controlled it. That was probably the most beat up anybody has ever seen Fedor after a fight. But he won easily, and so it's going to be interesting to see how Arlovsky rebounds from the KO, because we all remember what happened against Sylvia when he knocked Sylvia down, came back, knocked Arlovsky down, and won the belt back. Arlovsky came back a little bit gun shy, especially in the third fight with Sylvia. The Verdum fight was horrible. So and Rogers is going to bring it. Rogers has nothing to lose in this fight. He's fighting the biggest name of his career, and Arlovsky has to go in there and look impressive against a guy who's got how many fights? I don't know. Definitely doesn't have 10. But I'm going to pick Arlovsky. Experience, been in there with better fighters. Definitely has the one-punch knockout power. He's the more athletic guy. Definitely has better, I think, in my opinion, has better submissions, though we've never seen Rogers' ground game. I don't think it's going to go to the ground. But I'm going to pick Arlovsky. Hits him possibly by knockout in the second. Possibly by knockout. Now on to the next fight. Obviously, classic MMA matchup. Pure submission grappler versus a heavy-handed striker. Robbie Lawler, Jake Shields. Jake Shields moves up, looks good at 185. They both weighed in at 182, but they both Shields looked good. He looked to be bigger than Lawler a little bit. Lawler is a good solid middleweight. Definitely think would be a devastating welterweight if he went back to that, but I don't think he likes cutting the weight. But I'm going to pick Lawler in this fight, and the reason why is Jake Shields' last fight against Paul Daly, we saw Daly really beat Shields up on the feet, and Shields was desperate to get that fight to the ground. Desperate. And Daly in no way, shape, or form has the kind of sprawl and brawl capability Lawler has. And I think Lawler hits a lot harder than Daly, though Daly does hit very, very hard. Daly is he's got really technical striking, especially with his hands as well. I just think Lawler has a different kind of ferocity in his punches than Shields has. I think Shields, he does stand with his chin out a little bit too much. He does look to get the fight to the ground and submit the guy. We've seen it with Ceruto. We saw it with Mike Pyle. I think I'm naming his last bunch of fights here. He did it with, and he did it with Daly. So it's pretty obvious what he's going to want to do. It's pretty obvious what Lawler's going to want to do. My thing is the fight starts on the feet. So I'm gonna until Shields gets to the ground. I don't know. I'm inclined to take Lawler with this fight. I think he could possibly stop Shields in this fight. Shields is very tough, though. It's hard to go against him. It really is. But I'm gonna pick Lawler, and I think that he wins this fight probably by stoppage in the third round. Third round. So there you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed the predictions. Hope this is a great card. It should be. Definitely going to be fun to watch. Thank you guys for subscribing. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with me. I appreciate it. And you guys hope you enjoy the show.